Welcome back to the Sommelier Series and welcome to a really cool corner of Nederburg. This was Gunter Brosel's favourite part of the estate. The winemaker was here for 33 years. Incredible to be in one job for that long and for making wine for quite so many years. And this is where he used to store a lot of wine in particularly special barrels. These are all handmade. They're all different sizes. This one takes 6,080 litres of wine. That's almost a whole week worth of wine. At my house, the one to my right here, almost 6,200 litres. So they're all unique, they're all individual, and they had a certain charm to this particular room. It's the halfway house, as Gunter Brosel used to call it. It's still used to store a lot of red wine as it makes its journey through before finding it into a bottle at your table at home or your favourite restaurant. And that sense of charm, that sense of almost old school feel is very similar to the restaurant that we head to today. I used to live in Parkhurst in Johannesburg, and a regular walk up my street would take me to a little restaurant called Coobs. James, who runs it, has got a number of restaurants, but Coobs was always my favourite, both for some great food, but also an exceptional selection of wine. And the steward of said wine, a man with a broad smile and a great passion for everything grape, is a guy called Lovemore. Welcome to this week's episode of the Sommeliers, and as you found out while we're at Nederburg, today I'm meeting a guy called Lovemore. But before I introduce you to Lovemore Chigondo, let me introduce you to the restaurant and where we are. This restaurant is called Coobs, and it's a restaurant I know rather well because if you walk out of Coobs, turn left, and walk about 4 blocks down the road, you come to the house that until a few years ago I lived in for 4 or 5 years. This is the heart of Parkhurst, one of the more bohemian corners of Johannesburg, indeed South Africa, and it's awash with some terrific restaurants. You've got Bodega, Sav's tribute to Italy, Bistro and Vine, a little more French feel, and then you've got Coobs. James Diack, who's one of the top chefs in Johannesburg. He's got 4 fantastic restaurants, but this is the one that headlines the group that he does. So it's a fantastic restaurant. It is in a beautiful part of Johannesburg, a part I know particularly well, and what makes it extra special, as did Lovemore Chigondo, not for the first time in the Sommelier Series, is a fellow Zimbabwean. So, Maskati Lovemore.
Masquera say. I'm very happy.
Now, if you don't speak Shona, what we've just said to translate is, lovely to see you, Lovemore, and I can't wait to drink lots of wine with you. Which we'll do just a little bit later, but first we've got to talk about some wine and talk about your wine journey, because it has been quite a journey from a guy who left Bulawayo, working, following his father in the railways, down 20 years ago, arriving in South Africa, and at that stage you arrived working in some pizzas and working in the world of wine, I guess, was a long way away at that stage.
It was a very long way, yeah.
So how did that journey start then?
Okay, it was quite a long journey, but at least I'm almost there. I'm not perfect enough yet, but I'm still trying to put my shoes on it. Like when I started as a pizza man at La Rustica, where I worked for like 3 years. Then I moved to the grill, whereby I was doing the grilling of prawns and fish. Then I moved to the front of house. That's when I started discovering this wine thing. I didn't know about it when I was in Zimbabwe, that there's something called wine. You see, in Zimbabwe, there was only green faddy. Yeah, that's what we...
Which was very good at removing stains,
yeah,
but not quite so nice to drink.
Yeah. So when I started learning about the wines, it was when I joined the group called Adega Restaurants. I started in Sanignon, where I met a guy called Rob. So he was always encouraging all the waiters about wines, to know more about wines. Then I moved there, I went to Eulo Calino. There was a few wines. But when I joined this group, the Brightside group of Mr. Diack, that's when I saw that what I was thinking I know, I don't know anything yet. I have to start afresh, you see. So when I started here, there was a guy called Adolf. He left. Then they gave me the opportunity. They asked me if I'm interested to take over the position. Then I said, no, it's fine. They were very good. They were very happy. And I didn't spend anything on this course. They did everything for me. So I thank them very much, Robin and James Diack, for giving me the chance to do it. Then from there, they organized a tour with Debbie to Cape Town. We visited a few farms like the Seine, the Trafford, Tokara, the Sadi. We visited like 7 farms in a week. That's when I started knowing the difference between the grapes, the difference between the flavors of the grapes, the difference of the taste, the difference of the palate. We can drink the same wine, but I can say it's tasting like this, but your palate can say, no, it's like this. So it's all about what your palate likes and doesn't like.
What was that journey like, given you'd spent so much time on the food side, you'd made the pizza, you'd grilled the fish, you'd had a little bit of wine, but now all of a sudden you're discovering there's this whole new world.
You see, this whole new world, I didn't know it was going there. Until I came here, then I started knowing that you can drink this type of food with this, you can eat this type of food with this type of wine, you see. If you eat this with this, they go very well together. So, at first when I went to Cape Town, I was like, I didn't know what was going on. Because when we went there, we were told they're going to test wine, and I was thinking, tasting, you'll be tasting, drinking at the same time. But I didn't know that you taste, you spit. They just want to hear how does the wine taste? Or you smell it, what is coming out of it. First 3 days, it was very difficult. I want to tell you the truth, because I was confused. Because like when we smell the wine, let's say a Sauvignon Blanc, some people that are picking up quickly. What is this? It's a Sauvignon Blanc. What is this? It's a Chardonnay. What is this? A Chenin Blanc. You see, before they taste it. So I was like, how can this happen? Because when I was tasting the wine, it was very difficult for me to pick up what's this. But after the explaining now and again, now I can, if I can take a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, I smell it. Even before I taste it, I can tell you this is Sauvignon Blanc. Through the notes of the what? The notes from the nose.
What was the toughest part of this whole journey?
The toughest part of the journey was we were doing a lot of tastings in one day. It was my first time. Then we visit a farm. You have to taste like 8 different wines. You see? And you have to write some notes. Because at the end of the day, when you go back to the hotel, or sometimes we are traveling like from one farm to another farm, like 100 kilometers. Then Deb will be on the micro, talking to us, asking us questions. What did you learn from this farm? What did you learn today? Then you have to explain. But first 2 days, it was difficult for me because I had nothing to explain.
You didn't have as much wine experience, perhaps, but you did have a lot of food experience. You'd worked in a lot of different restaurants.
Yes, I had a lot of food experience than wine experience.
So when you became the sommelier within this particular group, did that make it a little bit easier in terms of understanding?
It makes a very big change for me, because on food-wise, I knew almost, let's say, I was on 8% to 85% on food. So when I started with the wine, because of chef, you see, chef, he does wines, he's doing food as well. So when you sit down, he's telling me, this food goes well with this food goes well with this. So on our menu, if a customer says, I'm feeling like this type of wine, straight away I know what to recommend.
What I love about your wine list, Lovemore, yes, there are some of the big names, but you've also got a lot of younger names, smaller wine farms, different winemakers. It's obviously something you have a philosophy about, something that you love, is giving the chance to guys we maybe don't know so well on your wine list.
Yeah, because it's like, if you look on our wine list, most people and most of our clients, they don't know most of these wines from these new winemakers. So it's like a way of us introducing those young winemakers to the public. Sometimes we do some functions with winemakers, whereby the winemaker will introduce his wines to our regular customers. Because we've got like our regular customers, whereby if a winemaker is coming, we send them emails. Then we can have an evening, let's say a 5-course evening. So we'll be pairing all the dishes with the wines which is going to brought to us. So we sit down with chef, then we can say, okay, this first course is going with this is going with this. Then we do the tastings, the food, everything. Then after that, the customers will buy wine direct from him that night. Then he's going to send the wines here, then we deliver them to our customers. So it's like we are trying to promote those small guys to be known into the industry. But even those big wine farms, we also got the wines, because we've got those people who come and say, no, guys, I want a nice bottle of wine. Do you have Epicurean? Do you have this from such family? Do you have Transpo? There are those wines which they need. We also keep them so that we can accommodate everyone.
If you go online, you can try this yourself, and you search Lovemore Sommelier Coobs, more often than not, up comes a review of sorts that talks about this smiling, happy sommelier who kept giving me wine. And everybody talks about how enthusiastic you are and how passionate you are. And for me, it's the best part of any of these sommelier stories, when we find a sommelier who so clearly found their passion, found what they love, and it looks like Lovemore Chigondo absolutely loves selling wine.
I really love selling wine because I love wine. That's why I drink wine. So I know the importance of what I'm doing. Because if you are dealing with a customer, even if this industry, if the customer says something wrong or anything, you don't have to show that you are not happy. So me, the more you show me you are not happy, the more I come to your table until we come back to the same page. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are supposed to be on one page, not two different pages. So how can we do that? If you complain, then I go hide in the kitchen. Then tomorrow, what are you going to write? The manager never came back, the sommelier never came back. He gave us cooked wine, but when we told him, he never came back to the table. You see, so he must come back with a smile to the table. Guys, what's the way forward? Wherever there's a problem, you need a solution.
Well, I'm going to test that, Mr. Lovemore, because I am a very unhappy guest. I'm sitting at a table, I've got no food and I've got no wine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, as we do with every episode of Sommelier Series, head off to your cellar. I've got no idea what you're bringing me, but I'm intrigued to see what you do. A bottle of wine and a dish from the kitchen of Coobs, and in just a moment, this famous Zimbabwean export will give me some food and wine from Coobs, and we'll see how they pair up. So Lovemore has returned from his mission to find me food and wine, and I recognise both the dish and I recognise the wine. But before I get any information on either of them, Lovemore, I see you've got your decanter, so I'll let you open that and decant the wine, and then we can talk about it and, more importantly, taste it.
Thank you very much.
Right, so the wine has been decanted, and expertly so. This is Rusapi's greatest ever sommelier, and you can see why.
Yeah.
Loads of wine you could have chosen. I want to know why you decanted it, and I want to know why you've paired it with whatever this dish is. But before we do that, just the wine itself. Why have you chosen this particular estate, this particular wine?
I've chosen this particular wine because I really love red blends, and I really love matured wines. That's why I chose the 2013 vintage, because I don't like fresh, still like 2-year-old, 3-year-old, because the older the wine gets, the smoother the tannins become.
I've got a question for you though, because you say that it's an older wine, the label says it's an older wine, but I look at the cork and the cork doesn't look that old.
I really love this winemaker because what he does before he releases wines, he keeps the wines for 2 years to mature. After that, when releasing, he opens all the bottles. He retests all the wines, then refill them, then he put new corks so that the wine can still last for a long time. Because if the cork allows air to enter the bottle, then the wine is corked. So he's trying to make it a guarantee that These wines can still survive for more than 7 years or 10 years again.
Okay, so it's a popular wine that you have chosen. You've also chosen to decant it. Why have you decanted it, and what are Lovemore's rules on what wine you should and shouldn't decant?
Yeah, usually to decant it, like you see, it's a bit odd. So I need the wine to what? To breathe. So that when you are drinking it, you're gonna, on your palate, it's gonna tell you who I am. It's not gonna just be something like, because when it's still like, you're gonna taste it, then you say, no, it's not good. But if you give it time to breathe out, then you taste it, it will be quite smooth, palate friendly.
We know you love the red blends. We know that this is a little bit older, but what makes this wine in particular work so well with the wild boar pasta?
See the wild boar, you've got like that fattiness in it. If you drink this wine with the food, it melts, goes very smooth in your palate. It will keep on saying, you have another sip, you have another sip, you have another. You can finish the whole bottle by yourself.
Oh, you can pick up a little bit of age there.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you're going to like this. I think I should drink it all, Lovemore. If you live in Johannesburg and you haven't eaten here, or you are coming to Johannesburg and you're looking for somewhere to eat, just come through, ask for Lovemore. He'll look after you naturally. But also have a look at the menu. Oh, so homemade pasta.
This is a homemade pasta. You only use free-range eggs.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. It's rich, but not overpoweringly so.
Yeah.
Well, I have to be honest, I'm sorely tempted to say it isn't just right and that we need to come back here for the next
for
week
next week.
to redo this. Oh, this is glorious. That's a super, super pairing, so thank you for suggesting it.
You're welcome.
Lovemore, what I've loved about doing this series is meeting some fantastic people and getting to tell their stories, but above all, seeing how passionate people in the wine industry are about what they do, and you're as passionate as any. I know the journey's still fairly young, it's only 4 years in, so good luck with it. And I can see myself coming back to Coobs quite regularly to do some important research. As we would say back home in our native Zimbabwe, tatenda chaijo and famba zvakanaka. And if you need a translation to English, that was simply a message from Lovemore saying, please come to Coobs, I'd love to give you some food and wine. So from the heart of Parkhurst, and another episode of the Sommelier Series with another fantastic sommelier. Cheers.